Oh, my camera's over here. Well, I need to... Ah! It's me! Bulbous. Ah, there's that brain cell coming in clutch.
For the last 2 weeks, I am fucking dead.
I feel
And
that.
that's only the hours of overtime that I counted because I wasn't told that I could before.
Fair enough. Put that back where it's supposed to be. So,
It's still
welcome.
telling me that. It's still saying that I'll join the room when the owner accepts the request.
Oh, which one did you click on? Because we should be in Cushy Folks. Because it's Etheria time.
How the fuck do I look at that?
If you click on the little owlbear person in the top left.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Rodeo?
Yeah, it's got on Owlbear Radio. You go click on the home button.
Now I have to sign in. Hold on.
Weird.
Fucking throw something. I swear to God.
I mean, like my OBS shit out and didn't put up my Twitch chat, so I have to
Okay.
look at the actual Twitch window because it won't reset. So I don't know what's going on.
Ah, yes, the typical streaming pains.
Mm-hmm.
Something's always got to not work.
How do I look at, like, what rooms or whatever?
It should be like from your homepage. If you click on the orange owlbear in the top left corner, it should tell you that there's rooms or rooms that you've joined.
Okay, I click on it and it says Albert Rodeo Play Trailer, blah, 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 blah. Docs, blog, extensions, pricing.
Click the orange. Did it not do anything when you clicked on the orange guy?
No.
Weird. Okay, that doesn't make sense.
But if I go to
Just-
profile, it goes to, like, my shit. It says, like, I can create rooms and then I have extensions, but it doesn't say the rooms that I've joined.
Huh.
Huh.
Icky. Cool.
Okay,
Owlbear,
now I
I need
click
you
on it.
to...
Okay, I click on the link again in the links Friday.
Yeah.
And it says I'm nameless. So obviously I'm the wrong one there.
I just DM'd you the link.
Thank you.
There he is.
Oh, the Cushy Folks.
Yes.
Okay. I
That's
see
the
at
name
top
of
now.
like the...
I was in the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, stuff coming in clutch. Where the fuck is Rixus, though?
That is a good question.
He's green. In Discord, actually.
You racist. Oh, in Discord. Okay.
What? Anyway, moving past that whole thing, that was just confusing in multiple statures.
I mean, sit there and tell me that it's not something that you would expect from me.
You know what? You're right. I don't know what I expected, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So, we're going to be doing a little gamey game tonight. As always, it's episode 30 of Siege of Etheria. Hooray. We are in the 30s now. We are
Holy fuck.
a mature adult. If you're doing it by years.
Sorry, I could not hold that back. I tried.
I mean, we're all within that range, and we all know that's false. So that was the joke mostly.
Yeah.
And you gotta laugh out of both of us.
I couldn't say it with a straight face. I was having issues. But we all know that the last session of Siege of Etheria was a bummer. It was a lot all at once. It was a long one, too. It was a very long episode where the party...
It was bullshit.
Yeah,
it was bullshit.
The party got
it
their
was
shit
bullshit.
slapped around.
No. Fuck that. 482 damage. I could have killed everything.
Yeah, you could have.
But your fucking goddamn plot armor, bullshit ass fucking shit, and now Rex is a robot somehow. I still don't understand how that happened.
So we're gonna cross all that. The first point that would work if he was alive. The second point, we're gonna recap it. So
Okay,
on our
killed anything includes the undead. Just saying.
not if they're never mind. We're not gonna get deep into it. It's very much a lich situation. Let's put it there. Like you can shoot a lich all you want, but until you break its little heart container and its feelings, it can't actually be killed mortally. That's the kind of situation you're dealing with. Any hoozle. Do a little recap action.
First, can we get a rip in chat?
A rip?
Yeah.
What do you mean a rip?
Chubbs died.
Oh. Damn. Big rip.
Yeah. Big rip.
Big rip. Well, now that now that my vibes have been mellowed, let us go into the recap. So, with the party found last session was the fact that they had found themselves on the doorstep of the Carrion Gates, leading into the necropolis, where eventually their main objective would be the Mad King Octarus Manx, where they would slay him in totality and would finish the journey they started over a year ago in the world of Etheria. They passed into the first room where Rage found himself at the tittling horror of a banshee, who took the form of the ranger of the original party that had sealed away the Mad King in the beginning. On the second,
was hot.
I just come to say here, wood. Jesus.
I'm just saying that casket was the only thing made of wood. That's all.
Goddamn. On the second area, they came across the fused remains of the barbarian and the fighter, who chose to try and take more of a physical approach to dealing with the party and trying to stop their progress. They passed through them, doing what they could for damage and actually eventually stopping them. Moving on to the final room, they came across a long catacomb where a skeletal cleric stood. And they spoke to him and they listened. And as they listened to him, Fausta grabbed the fourth key that they required to open the final door from within his ribcage, essentially letting his spirit go free. They entered the darkened room with an obsidian throne and lit scripture leading from the throne to the doorway. The party stepping in began to see something change in Fausta. Something different. Something malevolent.
I had no fucking clue.
Rage was clueless as he gave him his biggest gun and then immediately regretted the situation.
I remember screaming in my head, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
A fight.
Well, I will fucking be honest. That was the last thing I fucking saw coming. I thought I was gonna sit in the chair and I was gonna become the Mad King. My entire I was fucking blinded with that.
I'm good at story writing. Get fucked. Anyway.
Or you're bad because mine could have been better. I don't know.
Oh, the Mad King Rages arc. That could have been better.
That could have been a thing.
Well, maybe.
I'm already fucking insane, so I got half of it down. I just need a crown now.
A fight ensues between the party as Fausta now turns as he was the Mad King, or at least a part of him that was reunited with the spirit that laid within this throne, within this room, that when all the artifacts were brought back together, opened essentially a spiritual doorway that allowed the malevolence of the Mad King to flow back into its righteous vessel, which was Fausta. As the fight continued...
I'm sorry, whose throne was that?
Stop interrupting the recap.
Okay, no, I'm interrupting the recaps. I'm trying to stall for Ryxus, I'll be honest. But
I'm just trying to get through it. It was Faustus' throne that you stole, and then you had a big insult fight with him, which is very funny.
My throne.
My throne? No, it's mine. Mine.
I totally do not sound like Kermit the Frog, but I like where you were going with that.
No, that was Faustus saying it back to you, but potato, potato.
Oh, okay.
In his anger, he became slightly Kermit.
Got it. You have a little piggy stuck in his throat?
Maybe.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Okay, I can stop stalling now.
Thank you. A fight ensued, and the party saw that Fausto was stronger than they anticipated, or as he called himself now, Mangst. He began to throw spells and sword that dealt wounding blows and otherwise to the party in front of them. Kavral found himself at the bitter edge of the sword that he wielded, as due to his innate strength and his dwarven fortitude, he was able to stop it from cutting through his heart, at least giving him a fighting chance to come back. Eventually, Rage called forth the door. As the bracelet slipped off his wrist, the door opened, as they saw Thurlby, Eris, Greg, and his brothers, among others in the keep, looking onto this scene, and began trying to push back not only Fausta, as he was now trying to heal, as in a last-ditch recovery, Rage fired his weapon with such grace to bare holes within his skin that would take a moment for him to heal. They retreated into the keep, shutting the doors behind them before Fausta's slow, lumbering form could make it through the threshold. Thurlby became panicked as he saw what they were dealing with. They tried to deal with your wounds, giving you whatever they could to sustain it, but they saw that Macragge now had come under siege from something outside their own control. Thurlby told you there was one way to save your paladin, to save Kavral. You were going to have to trust him, and you were going to have to give him permission to do it, as it was something that was drastic. Something that may not work, but he wants it to work. Both Finrod and Rage agreed. They wanted to save their friend no matter the cost. Thurlby had Kavral brought to the workshop. The rest of the party followed along with Eris and Greg and everyone else. And you saw that Eris and Greg were formed around Kavral, stuffing bandages, doing sutures, trying to keep him alive, while Thurlby drove spikes around into the stone, attaching wires and electrodes to his chest as he's ripping out armor pieces to try and get to the skin of the dwarf. Rage and Finrod stood to the side with large brass rods in either hand, with the large black cables attaching to a warforge that seemed to be in the back of Thurlby's shop, a blank he had made from the party's last adventures, just in case something like this was to occur. Rage and Finrod's jobs were just to simply chaperone the spirit and consciousness of Kavral between them and into the body. They did it with gusto. They did it with fortitude and the will to let their friends survive. Kavral behind its lenses with a question of, where did I go? And that he was feeling better, not unsure and unaware of his current situation. Thurlby began pulling the party back towards the common area, making sure they had provisions and gear necessary for their travels, not telling them what was being pushed into their bags by Greg, but just shoving as much as he could before taking the bracelet and the wrist it was attached to on Rage and punching in invisible glyphs that later were part on the other runes of the bracelet. As he did it, the bracelet began to glow, a different color than normal, and became very cold. The door opened, and Thurlby simply said it was a one-way trip, because he wanted you, as the heroes, to survive, as you were the only ones who would be strong enough to come back and save the rest of Macragge and save Etheria from the Mad King that is now unleashed upon this world. As he's speaking to you and telling you that you need to go, and that if he was to fall, that it would not matter. Because though you would be sad, you would be alive. And that is what mattered to him. It mattered to Fausta. It matters to Thurlby. It mattered to Greg. As every person that Keep had seen you put yourselves on the line for them, it was their turn to return that favor. As this is spoken, a green bolt of lightning slams through the center of the keep, landing and breaking apart tables, rooftop tiles, walls, scattering debris and plates and otherwise across the rooms. Out of that bolt of magic comes the silhouette of Fausta, of Manx, armed with his black sword and looking for blood. Thurlby sees the monster that is approaching him, not wanting to do what he has to, but knowing that he must. He pulls out an old blacksmithing hammer and pushes Rage through the door, as both Kavral and Finrod have already attempted to step through. He told them it was not their time. That if these old bones could sing, you would hear a war song. As the doors began to close, the three heroes now on the other side of the gate, they could see the shape of Thurlby, wielding that hammer and another weapon in his hand, standing up against the towering stature that was now the recovered Manx. His armor clad in black, almost seeming to absorb the light around him, the sword gripping through the wooden planks and tearing up splinters wherever it touched. You heard the old man bellow from just inside those doors. You heard him simply yell, "I've made you once." As the doors slam shut, collapsing and returning to a bracelet that slowly slipped onto the wrist of the ranger. As the three heroes found themselves sitting on a freshly snowed slant on a hill in the northeast side of Etheria, Kavral, with his new eyes, would recognize this place as the Slanted Keep, a desolate hillside on a desolate island, connected to shipping routes and not much else. They were as far away from a crag as they could, based on the map they knew. And now, all 30 sat in silence, looking out to the horizon, seeing the bolts of green lightning and pillars of smoke rise from the countryside that they've worked so hard to build, unknowing of what they're going to do next. And that's where we turn to today. So, first off, thank you, Young Trash, for following. Much appreciated. Secondly, I am joined with us tonight by our regular round of players. We, of course, have It's Time to Rage, playing Rage, the Aarakocra Ranger. We have Stealth Rage 7, to be specific, playing Finrod, the Elven Monk. And then, finally, we have Rexus the White, playing Kavral, the once dwarven paladin, now reborn as the wolf, sitting upon the hillside, greeted by the ends of the narration. And thank you, Addy. I appreciate you too. Love you, bud. So, my dear players, that is where... That is the incorrect... There it is. Aha! Our pictures are here, our faces upon the board of fate. And once again, we find ourselves leaning into the world that is ours. Speak now. What say you?
Did we totally fucking watch Thoroughly eat it too?
You do not see Thoroughly get hit. You saw the blade, you saw his hammer come up, you saw the sword come up, and then you heard a clash of weapons as the door closed, as you heard him yell out one last time. So it is not confirmed nor denied if Thurlby has done the big parish, gone to the big foundry in the sky.
Cannot confirm nor deny these allegations.
Basically.
Dudley robots from the south. Southern robot.
Southern robot? I mean, square it off.
Sounds like a terrible fucking Adult Swim show is what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Like
If it would be a
Squiggly is
pissed
the
off
robotic.
robot, he wouldn't be able to fucking drink.
Unless he's like Bender.
I was gonna say Bender.
Fueled by alcohol, yeah. True.
And fembots and smoking and gambling. And stealing.
Yeah.
So now we gotta like travel this distance to get back.
That is what it seems on the nose, is that you will have to travel across most of the continent to get back to Macragge.
Lovely.
So that is what it seems, is that you will have to travel back to Macragge in some estate or otherwise.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. Yes. Possibly. Boats.
Well, we are by the Slanted Keep, so we could stop there.
I mean, yeah, probably. That's probably the best idea. Unless you want to just rush back.
Will that let us go back, though?
That won't. No, I was talking about like just kick feet.
Hoof it. Pound dirt.
Buy some horses that can hold a robot up. How much do you weigh now? Like, are you just you but mechanically inclined now? Is that what happened? Or
So, to describe to you what the new coverall looks like, is that because this is a blank from the Dwarven geologists, it doesn't look like a traditional Warforged, where they're about like 6.5 feet tall, very well built,
okay,
Terminator style. This one is probably closer to, for them building these bigger bodies, made it about 6, probably about 5'6", but they're significantly stockier. So the stature looks very close to a dwarf, about 6 inches taller than what Coverall was originally. It's a little bit wider. He still has some of the plates that he's kind of fashioned from his armor onto his person. So he still wears the plate he was wearing previously and still has all of his weapons. But he does look a slight differently, as his skin is now metallic and he doesn't have facial features, minus his eyes.
Yeah.
so what I'm hearing is I heard Terminator, and now I just think of Rice talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger the whole time, and I can't unhear that now.
Oh dear. Yeah, We have to get back to the crag. Ah.
No. Please, dear God, no.
Oh, that was
I
an
figured that's
absolute
what you were
win.
doing.
It was an absolute win.
You just heard him go, ahem. Now, now, now. Oh God, that was good. That was good. I'll give you that one there, Rexus. That was good.
Was fantastic.
It was very nice.
Thank you.
I'm so happy with the product.
Yeah. So
Oh,
you guys can tell that the bracelet probably will not let you go back to McCrag, and that
I tried
you did
at the end
try.
of last session.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You did try, and it
Like
just
4
booped
times.
out.
Yeah.
No boops. No boops occurred.
I remember because I punched my desk and it hurt.
Yes. But yeah, so the ideas here is that you guys basically need to do whatever it is you need to do to get back to McCrag, but you also know that the monster that lurks there is more powerful than anything you've ever fought. And now that you don't have your artifacts, minus Finrod, who stole his gauntlets off the floor.
I thought we all had our stuff.
All the artifacts returned to the throne. The only one that stole his back was Finrod.
Yeah, I didn't really have a chance to grab my sword off of the ground after being cleaved.
I was totally thinking that I grabbed the quiver. I'm probably wrong though. I would have to watch it back to be sure.
I don't think you guys did. The only person I know that explicitly said that he grabbed his artifacts was Finrod, because he needed to be able to punch Mangst, and he couldn't do it with his regular hams.
No, that was how I destroyed
you
the.
asking if it was like if you were able to, but I don't remember you actually grabbing.
I thought I did. Like I said, it might have been my fuck up.
That's how I broke the throne chair, is by picking up my gauntlets and putting them back on.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna be no help to anybody. I'm currently doing something real quick, but it'll be worth it.
Uh-oh.
And then
Oh
here
my
comes
goodness.
Carson with her pities.
Oh.
Oh.
The bit is.
I don't want to admit what just happened.
I don't like you starting with that phrase.
I'm just gonna drop it. I don't think it's gonna benefit any relationship here.
Now I'm really worried.
I might have heard titties and might have clicked on his stream. That's about it. I mean, straight up, I just wanted to see the moment that he was going to get banned from Twitch.
Thanks.
I mean, worth it. If I get banned from Twitch because my wife showed titties on stream, worth it, whatever. That's how I go out.
That's how I die. It's a pretty cool way to get banned. Yeah, we do have some Bard City vibes going on. As I grabbed Rabby's playlist from Feast, and I thought that was a better atmospheric tone than my usual heavy stuff. Especially since this song is "Are We the Bad Guys?" Seems kind of in line with the situation that you're currently faced with. Yeah, so you guys can essentially go forth however you wish to. You know that Manx is extremely powerful. You know his army is starting to resurface, hence why McCrag was under such a large siege. Now it's under a single person's control. So you're gonna need an army. of some sort or form. You're going to need some kind of heavy-duty firepower or military force or something if you're going to march across half of Etheria to get back to Macragge and take it back. But then that also still raises the question of, even if you take back Macragge, where's the Mad King? And how are you going to take him down as well?
Isn't the only town that we haven't really recruited is the Slanted Keep?
Yeah. It was just off the beaten path, just a place you never really went.
I could.
Well, that's where all the paladins are from, right? If I remember right.
It's one of the massive quote-unquote training centers for the paladins.
That's what it was.
It might be worth going there to see about recruiting people.
And maybe we can learn a bit more about Fausta or Manx, whichever they know him by.
Well, either or, we're gonna need some walking music. That's what we need.
Walking music?
Walking music.
You're going to need walking music? All right.
Gonna need walking music.
Hang on. I got this. Hang on.
No, you
Hang
do
on.
not.
Hang on. Hang on.
You totally do not. No, get the fuck out of here.
I was going to say, if only we had the bard.
Here, I have a bard for you. Is that bard enough for you? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Is that what you always wanted?
Thanks. I
Gave me
hate
some
it.
music.
There, I got my meme in. That's what counts.
Indeed.
I got to play my little jig.
This isn't working. I hate everything.
I hate everything, dude. So essentially what I'm hearing is you guys have decided to go to the Slanted Keep to try and recruit some people, possibly learn some things. Yeah?
Yeah. Finish healing up. Since we probably didn't do a full rest.
No, you did not. You kind of got your shit pushed. Just a smidge.
Shit push. Got there. And then, yeah.
Yeah, bad time.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad times happening. So yeah, so you guys can easily see the Slanted Keep in the distance. It's not a far walk, at least to what you guys have done, as you've traversed most of Etheria at this point. And so you make your way. It's a couple miles, nothing too crazy. You walk around a large ravine that has been cut by a river that's been pushed through this part of the island. And when you eventually reach it, you see that the reason the keep is called as such is that it is slanted. It's actually built into the hillside, where the bottom of the keep is at an angle, but all the turrets are pointed straight up towards the sky. It looks odd, but effective.
There it goes. I got it.
I knew that's
music.
what you wanted to do.
That is exactly what I wanted to do, and I couldn't figure it out. I just realized that, oh, I'm using voice mod now. I have to upload it to voice mod. So, fuck.
That's the song that came to my head when you said walking music.
Oh my god, it was totally the one I was going for the whole time. The entire time.
So it seems you're about 500 miles from the Slanted Keep. And you'll probably have to walk another 500 more.
You fucking douche. What a dick.
All I can think of is me going, "Are we there yet?"
So can you not add custom soundboard sounds to your stream deck through voice mod?
Yeah, you can.
I can't find the one I just did.
Yeah, so you guys see yourself about a half mile at this point from the Slanted Keep. There are footpaths and such that are built into the mountains, into the knolls, that have been carved out by the rain and the wind and the sea. You eventually come across a large drawbridge, which, upon closer inspection, this castle is significantly more decorated than any other castle you've seen, minus your own. It seems to have large white banners with multiple different symbols hung from its walls, skulls of monsters above the drawbridge. It has stone plating and steel plating wherever it can be, as it seems that this fortress has been built to withstand multiple assaults and has survived more than you can imagine. One wishes to know the full extent of what has happened here, as it seems to be something of extreme either historical or at least geographical importance. But you all approach as you see a few young soldiers sitting at the top of the battlements above the drawbridge. It's easy enough for them to see you coming down the footpath. You don't exactly blend into the environment, especially the monk and the Warforged paladin. And so you all kind of just keep making your way there until you hear the voices from above go, "Hi there, you stopped it. What do you want to do with the Slanted Keep?"
We were hoping to come on in and rest.
Who are you? I haven't seen you lot before.
We're from McCrag.
You're a long ways away, walking the opposite direction of being from McCrag. So, I hear you talking, elf. What about the other two compatriots of your group? Do I know them, perchance?
Your mom knows me.
Um,
God.
well,
I don't even know how to
not
respond.
in this form, perhaps, but you do know me. It has been a while, but it is a Coverall Stone Shield. I've changed forms, unfortunately.
You hear that? It's Brother Cavrol. Open the gates, quickly. With a number of clanking and yelling of voices, the gate begins to descend, allowing you passage into the inner workings of the Slanted Keep. As you make your way across the drawbridge, the first person you see is a older person, an older gentleman. Looks to be of dwarven descent. His long beard, now fully gray, metal adornments and braid clamps built in that almost would act as that his beard itself is now giving him an armor value. He stands taut. The only thing of him besides his beard that is armored are his greaves and plates that he wears upon his legs. Otherwise, he wears a robe over the top of his torso and around his neck, with a sash coming across his chest bearing ranks and medals and achievements that he has completed in his lifetime of service. And he looks upon the three of you coming across the drawbridge, and he motions for Rage and Finrod to move past as he steps forward and claps the shoulders of the Warforged. And you hear just in a deep, gruff voice, Cavrol, is that really you in there?
Aye, it is. I suffered a mortal blow and was saved by our noble artificer.
A kind one at that. You don't see many of these dwarven warforged walking around because they're fancy. I imagine you heard of Farreach and the catastrophe that occurred there.
Aye, unfortunately. This, funnily enough, this frame that I now inhabit originated from there.
That would explain its capabilities to both hold you and bring you to us now. I imagine you have questions and wounds of both the physical and the spiritual to deal with. I imagine you and your compatriots feel the same, as the pillars of smoke upon the horizon tell a tale of loss.
Aye, and grim one at that.
Well, any brother of the order is welcome here. It's been a while since you've graced these stones. Let them comfort you in this time of grieving and healing. I imagine you still remember where all the amenities are.
Aye, thank you. I will show my friends where they need to go. And after we have rested, we have need to speak.
I will give you whatever support and counsel you require, but first, rest. The length of your journey wears upon your face, your spirit. Please heal yourselves first before we speak of business, before we speak of more war, more pain to behold. And he kind of gives you a good shake on the shoulders, taps you in the forehead with his own, and steps to the side, allowing you to pass to catch up to your two compatriots.
All right. I return the shoulder clasp and the head bump gently, of course, and then respectfully move back. And catch up with them. And I'm going to show them where they need to go so we can get long rests.
Yep. Kavral shows you all where the amenities and such are of within this place and all there is to offer. He tells you of the training grounds, the library, everywhere that you go that there was a resource, a teacher. There was blacksmithing and leatherworking. There was sword making and armor forging. There was silversmithing and jewelry and writing, books and book making. All things that help a paladin focus the mind and the spirit to allow them to be the warrior priests that they truly are. It is not a celibate colony. It is not one that beshoulders themselves of mortal temptations. It is a place of understanding of one's lineage, of one's heritage, of one's own wants and needs. There is ale to be had, food to be eaten, games to be played, debauchery to be ensued. It seems to be a relatively joyful place. A place where a warrior could rest, to heal, to learn, to grow, and then once they leave the doors once more, they bring forth that strength that they've learned into the world around them. And you see no less. They bring you to you find yourselves in. At first look a bit Spartan. They don't look like they have much of the term of flourish and otherwise, but it seems to be because these are spares. Kovral's, though, on the other hand, his room is still sanctified as his. Entering, it sees the decorations and things that he has left behind that he had earned in his time here and his time before. And so you all find a place to rest. Anything that you wish for in the material realm of understanding, and at least within some limitations, is freely given. And the three of you find yourselves taking a long rest. Unfortunately, Kovral, you try to rest, and you just don't feel the same. You can lay down, you can close your eyes, slow your breathing, but you only believe you think that you hear your heartbeat, that you feel the dryness and warmth of the air upon your skin, the dwindling light of the day passing through the window across your eyes. It takes you a while to get a grasp of what you are as you just sit and wait.
Well, no sleep, no ale. This is going to take some getting used to.
Kovral, you hear a quick rasp on your door. It's been a few hours since you've all laid to rest. Finrod and Rage, you do not hear this knocking, but Kovral, you hear a very quick knock on your door frame as someone is there.
Come in.
The door opens for you to see another dwarf, a little bit wider in stature, look at you and go, "By the gods, you are here. Well, it seems that you're having trouble sleeping."
You can say that.
I can see it in your spirit, brother. It May has been some years since we've last graced each other upon the battlefield, but that does not mean that I cannot see the inner workings of your heart. Come, let us go sit in the pub and get you some of that ale you've always liked. You can speak to me of what burdens you, what burdens your journey, the scars you now carry upon your soul, and hopefully find you a new perspective in the situation you find yourself.
Well, I don't know if I can partake, but aye, I'll gladly come along and chat.
So he leads you to the all-familiar pub that over the years you spent here, you became very familiar with for multiple reasons. He sits you down. He orders a couple of rounds for you and him. And he places it in front of you, or at least one of the tankards, and just points to it and goes, "Drink."
Yeah, alright. I'll try to drink it, I guess.
You drink it without an issue. It seems that you do have some kind of mouth, so to speak, that opens. It's not very precise, and it's hard to tell if it's because of all the rocks this frame may have been eating beforehand, or possibly just due to its age. But it is somewhat there. As you can feel the plates move, the seal kind of being broken between the two friction points that had formed from it being held together for so long. And as you kind of strain your newfound muscles, you bring the ale to your lips and you drink. And you feel it as if you had once drank it previously. It seems that this not be required to have the food and drink and sleep that you once needed does not mean you cannot feel it or partake in it. It seems to be that at least that part of you is still very much there.
Good old dwarven craftsmanship. Never should have doubted it.
The other paladin chuckles at you and goes, I figured they'd have something in there. It's not much like a dwarf to let good ale go to waste, even if you have given up the meat suit that you're used to working with.
Hey, fair.
Now,
We appreciate it.
now, Brother Kavral, speak. What has brought you to the Slanted Keep? It has been many years since last we saw of you.
Unfortunately, a dire emergency is what brings us here. Our good friend and fellow paladin Fausta, it appears he was more than he seemed. Once we assembled all of the artifacts and were prepared to take on the Mad King, Fausta is the Mad King.
On you, I imagine you trusted him.
Aye, he was very much so a mentor.
Well,
And
as we have both been taught, is that sometimes things are not as all as they seem. Though this seems relatively concrete, you have to remember to keep your paladin skepticism of what is actually happening. But I will not judge your judgment. I was not there to see what you saw. All I can see is the scars that it left.
You do make a valid point. Fausta was still in there, even though the Mad King was also him. When we damaged the throne, which is seemingly the conduit of his power, Fausta came back for a moment and begged to be ended.
Interesting. How much do you know of the legend of this Mad King, Brother Kavral?
I am unfortunately fuzzy on the particulars of it, but I know that he was not always as such.
Well, I would imagine that the tomes we have here in the Slanted Keep may answer some of your questions. And there is no better time than that of the present to go and look and try to find maybe a new perspective on how to tackle this situation at hand.
Right. That is wise counsel. Thank you.
That is why they keep me around, brother. I try my best to make sure that all paladins, of no matter alignment or otherwise, are given the same counsel to help in completing their duties as such. Now, grab your tankard. Let us go to the library, for I know at the very least we have some of the less censored books or fuller tomes that were not exposed to that of corruption, misdeeds, and thievery. Mayhaps we will find what you are looking for.
Yes, open.
So he quickly guides you to the library, a path you know very well. And once you're there, he walks you through the different areas, showing that they've gathered new collections. They found other tomes that have become affluent in parts of making better paladins, teaching them the strength they require for necessary skepticism, science, religion, and the understanding of man and morals, to really build upon what they know is what they see. And so bringing you into this little, or I say little, this large library, this small section. Thank you, Becky. Thank you for hitting me with a metal pipe. Brings you to this large library, and you sit down with him as he starts pulling out these large books, dropping them onto the table, as you hear the thumps and clanks of metal buckles on leather books. Eventually coming across a very thin tome hidden amongst the others, dusty, worn, and out of place. The color is not muted. It's a bright red-brown, almost of that as a blood-soaked leather, right off the steer. It just seems peculiar compared to the other books that are all made of either parchment or darkened leathers or even stone on the older dwarven tomes. He pulls it out and he unwraps a cord, holding it shut. He looks to you and goes, We found this years ago. He goes, what we believe to be an artifact site. We're not sure where or why it showed up, but it just appeared. And as we opened it and began reading it, we saw that we had to keep it. This was many centuries ago, during the original sealing of the Mad King. It was near the Crucible, or what it is known now, where a large ship was taking a detachment of soldiers, along with a number of heroes, to fight the Mad King himself. Or at least to seal it away. The magic that had started to spread out of the necropolis. Something that was unearthed, that wasn't supposed to. As we read it, and we went through details, we found that it was actually belonging to that of the cleric. A cleric by the name of Sir Caligry. And it seemed odd that a cleric of his stature would leave behind a journal. And we don't know how it found its way here, but it did. And it came with this strange bracelet. It's very, very odd. We found it in the journal north of this keep, past the river delta that is up there, carved through the mountains. It is very, very peculiar spot, but it came with this strange stone-like bracelet wrapped around the journal. The bracelet has been lost, of course. It's gone after an issue arose. I think he was either between a combat encounter or miscommunication or loss of hands, what have you. But we have the journal. We've been able to read it and understand it, of what exactly has been going on. And I wish to explain to you and then let you read for yourself what it says. So he explains a little bit of it to you, and then he hands you the journal and goes, read what has been seen before, and mayhaps it will help.
Thank you. And I open the book and start perusing it, or the journal, rather, I guess.
Over the next several hours, you peruse the journal. The brother that brought you there steps away, whether to get more ale or to find himself sleep, knowing that at least you are on your way to some progress. Dawn comes, and Rage and Finrod, you both awaken. As you mingle around, going to the different amenities, you're eventually pointed to the library where Kavral is seated. And now Kavral, over these hours, as you don't even notice your friends enter, as you don't even notice them enter, you see this information hit you very quickly in large bursts. It starts with the story of Sir Calgary finding himself in the old settlement. Fausta brought you previously to find the soldier's sword. It talks about the studies he was going through, the books he had read, and how he found religion peculiar and not really his speed, but the magic he was able to use was for the betterment of others. He studied medicine and alchemy, poisons and potions, how to counter them, how to create them. And he found himself growing ever more skilled in that of a tradesman. Even though being a cleric and holding up the symbols of his god that he had followed at that time, he continued working with different people until he just kept learning everything he could. Blacksmithing, magical weapon making, the works. One day he was approached by a ranger who, her bow was damaged and she wished for it to be fixed. Seeing him working in the forge, she thought him a natural, not questioning whether he was a cleric or not, and he simply fixed her bow, made it better, and gave it back, not asking for a coin in return, saying that a hero's duty is never truly done and that it needs to be served by tools that are equal to the hero. it seemed to dawn upon the ranger that this individual was not as what he seemed. And so she asked if he wished to go with her to see the group, the mercenary contract group that she was fighting with, being led by a man that would soon name the city Macragge. The cleric agreed and went with him to not fight, but to build, to repair, to heal, and to help where he could. This is where his life began to change differently, and for the better, as it seemed at the time. Where during the siege of before Macragge was Macragge, there was a large enemy group that had rushed the camp, where Brother Calgary had set up his shop or set up his materials to work. And being a man of not knowing much about sword fighting, just being one to protect those, he picked up a blade and tried to protect himself as best he could. He protected a few of the soldiers who were able to save him in return, until a very large soldier wielding a great axe came swinging at him with ferocity and speed he had not seen before. He thought he was done for, the first swing knocking the blade out of his hand and into the dirt, the second one nearly missing his head. Down at him, a large overhead swing that would cut a man in twain. It was stopped by a large greatsword and a man in full plate mail. The man, after slaying the large trooper and introducing himself to the cleric, introduced himself as Fausta Bravestone of the Goliaths, paladin of Commander Macragge. And at that point, they had formed a blood bond. They had formed an alliance befit that of warriors and only understood by those who have seen combat up close. It seemed that the ranger had been working with the paladin closely beforehand, and now the cleric has been brought in. Another recruit was found among the soldiers, a fighter who seemed well involved in the ways of both magic and blade, where he was able to work with Sir Calgary to make a sword that would launch itself towards its enemy with tremendous force, cracking through armor and stone alike. The ranger helped the cleric create the quiver that allowed her to use multiple types of arrows at the sacrifice of her own materials. He helped Fausta create a sword of great power that allowed him to bring fear to his enemies and salvation to his allies, as a paladin should be armed. And finally, he made the mistake of making a circlet that could let him help people beyond his own abilities. You recognize the descriptions of all these artifacts as they're the ones that you collected. It seems odd that there isn't mention of the fifth. That is until a few pages down, where the party found themselves towards the Black Marshes, as they are now known, where a monster easily could have taken them down, as the magic that had begun leaking from the necropolis had caused mutations among the creatures, similar to what you had seen. That was until a barbarian had found himself leaping out of the water, fist first, and taking down what described as what you would know as a giant barnacle worm. The barbarian ripped it asunder with ease, using barely his hands as his weapons were stuck into its flesh. The cleric, seeing that he was of promise, asked Fausta to bring him into their retinue. With glee and with admiration for his skills, he did. And the cleric then put together, after much work and dedication on his own half to teach the barbarian how to use them, created the Lion's Gauntlets for the barbarian Lionel Johnson. So the party found themselves going around the countryside, clearing up what they could, containing the rogue magic and creatures that are spawned, the dragons that had begun to run amok, among other things. The stories that were told in this tome were extravagant, exquisite detail from a first-person account of these fights, of these falls, of these developments, of the character of all these different people. But then it takes a turn for the dark. It starts talking about how fighting through these areas of corrupted magic seemed to affect all of them, seemed to cause them to think differently, feel differently. It had a significant effect on Fausta. Hello, Mr. Zendif. Fausta continued to see how the magic would remove cities, civilians, people, innocent lives, and he was powerless to stop it. So, in a quest to save more lives, he threw himself into the magic that he had fought so hard to contain. And he grew stronger, as did the rest of the party. Quoted as power leveling, as one would imagine. Eventually, they found themselves at the top of the food chain, able to swat down any threat that came near the civilians and the townspeople they had come to adore, that they loved as heroes, doing what they've always wanted, to be that person people hope for, being the hero they require to give them hope in a world of despair. That is until Fausta began to turn, his compass beginning to skew. The cleric watched as Fausta skewered a pickpocket, no older than 14, to the ground with his greatsword, all for trying to steal the coin purse off a corrupt businessman. He saw the rest of the party turn blind eyes to these acts. He saw the rest of the party commit their own treacherous crimes, knowing that their power now allowed them this vigilantism, this equalizer, to be what it is. So he continued to watch them descend until it became clear that Fausta began looking for something more than just the ability to strike down petty thieves and businessmen that he deemed unworthy of being alive. He wanted to take back what was killing the world. His pride, now the driving force of his actions. And so Fausta dragged the party forth into the necropolis to find the heart of the magic, the heart of the corruption, and end it. You skip a few pages as you know how this story ends. You know that the heroes perish. But what you don't realize is that they perish on their second attempt to go into the necropolis. The first one, they're successful. They fight their way to the obsidian throne where Fausta plants himself. And the end becomes real. His wrath becomes insurmountable, his rage unchained, as he begins trying to fight and kill his party members. They just barely make it out, thanks to a bracelet the cleric was wearing, giving them a chance to escape through a door he was able to create out of thin air. They tried to fight the now Mad King from the comfort of their shores, rescuing townspeople, defeating his soldiers, defeating his creatures at every turn, until eventually it became too much for them to bear, and they had to take the fight back to him. Only about 8 months after the initial of the setting feet into the necropolis, the party set forth again down into the depths. This time, the resistance was significantly larger. Carapace-clad troopers, creatures beyond the imagination and horror of those that delved, waited. Mouths of teeth, metal, and bone waited for them to give them their own warm welcome, to welcome them home to where it all started. The heroes fought tooth and nail to get to the end, losing a member in the process. The ranger was killed by a roof collapsing onto a sarcophagus. The barbarian and fighter were cut in twain by a large automaton that stood as guardian of a door. And then the cleric found himself staring down the gate leading to the obsidian throne. Fausta had approached him, and he had begun to fight like he had never fought before. Picking up anything he could find, rocks, broken swords, spear hilts, everything. Fighting tooth and nail against the monster that he had allowed to become real. Until he picked up a hammer that was left over on the ground as a last-ditch effort. He wished as hard as he could to revert back whatever had occurred. He went to strike Fausta with the hammer, but not without taking his own wound, a scar coming down across his face from his top right temple. The scar running across his face is a reminder of what he risked to hit Fausta with that hammer, coursing with the wish that he had made. And as the hammer fell home into the plate, you saw a split. You saw a Fausta and silver plate fall to the side, collapse on the ground, his sword even remaining its bright chrome. You saw a part of him be shifted into the back room with the obsidian throne by the light radiating off the cleric. And that he pushed it back, sealing the door behind him. The cleric put the bracelet on Fausta, gave him the journal, and that's where the articles end. That the last entry reads, "With this passage I state that I, Sir Caligari, have given my bracelet of unforeseen consequences to that of Fausta the Paladin of Macragge. I have touched runes upon it that would allow him to escape, hopefully to a place far away from here and away from the spirit that holds his own. If anyone reads this journal, you must finish what we started. But you must put the halves together so that you may crack the whole. Then and only then will we all have peace." And that is where it ends. The last 2 pages seeming blank between your fingers.
I am going to share that information with the party then, so that they actually know this instead of just hearing it out of character.
You share it with them.
Damn, Coverall, it seems like you had a busy night.
Well, it seems I cannot sleep in this new form, so got to talking to somebody and realized this was a much better way to spend the night. The exit right, sorry.
Well, at least we've learned out a few more things that we needed to. We should try and get your guys' relics back.
Hey, that would be nice.
Going into the Necropolis again might be a little rough.
I was totally on mute this entire time. My bad.
Oopsies.
Oh,
I don't normally have to mute Discord for that long. I love the lore though. Just gotta say that. Anyways. Yeah, definitely. Don't I have a bow that I should get checked out?
More than likely.
More than likely.
and also repaired.
Yeah, that too.
And what about that cloak?
Did I take her cloak too? I did, didn't I?
Yep.
That's right, because confused boner. Yeah, is there anyone in this town that I could take those to get inspected and then the bow also repaired? Or both of them
There's
also
plenty
repaired?
of people that you could go and speak to about this. That, as stated before, there's a number of cross-training paladins in this keep.
I would like to go speak to one of them at least.
Yeah, easy enough. As you guys look at the journal that Coverall is holding, Rage, you remember what you need to have inspected as he reads you the story, and you go and collect your things and you go and find someone to take a look at what you have.
While we're here, since the gauntlets were also made here, is there anyone I can have them check out just to like make sure they're doing all right? Since I've been kind of beating them up.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's that if there's things you wish to find someone to talk to about these artifacts that you have found and that you've wielded, you more than likely find someone that can. But Finrod, before you stand, or after you stand in this case, give me a perception check, please.
A nat fucking 20.
There you go.
Nice.
You see,
Where was that last week?
right? You see the pages as Coverall's flipping through them. You see that there are some strange markings along the bottom of some of the pages.
Huh. Hey, overall, do you see those markings?
I have a look at them.
You take a look, and it seems that it's written in a old language that is taught here at the keep. It seems to be small statements, nothing of unusualness, until you see one with a bunch of different lines of script kind of crossed out in progression. At the very bottom, you see the letters or characters that represent the name Thurlby.
Well, that's interesting. Some of these notes appear to be left by Thurlby.
Oh. And they did talk about a hammer, too.
Hey.
And what was it that Thurlby said as we got pushed through the door again?
I believe it was I made you and I'll unmake you or something like that. Very conspicuous.
You also do remember Thurlby has a scar across his face
Across his eye.
that he said he earned from fist fighting a boar one drunken night in the far lands of the Black Marsh.
Well, it appears Thurlby may be a little bit older than he was letting on about.
Yeah. No, 2 and 2 is starting to come together right now. So, that's probably why he knew so much.
It certainly explains some things, eh?
I'm wondering if he kept some of the stuff from us on purpose.
Likely. Very likely.
And that also explains why he was able to control the bracelet even when he wasn't with us. If he was the one that made it.
Indeed. Indeed, it does. So, well, I suppose that would explain why he's so skilled. He's had quite some time to his craft.
Oh, I have so many questions for him now. The next time we see him, I hope we see him again.
And that he's alive and well at that time, too, hopefully.
Well, hmm. my character's just stuck in thought right now, to be honest.
As one would imagine.
Well, might as well go enjoy some breakfast and ale, or just ale on my part, I suppose, but might as well go enjoy some of that while we're thinking about this.
You know, with how hard I'm thinking right now, I think I could use an ale as well.
Easy enough
Hey,
to
Jerry,
solve
muted again.
as both of you go and find yourselves back at the tavern hub. As we swap over to an Aarakocra ranger walking through the artisan area of the keep, holding a bow, a cloak, and some of his own gear, looking to find someone willing to inspect it and see if they can fix it.
Can I roll a perception check
You can.
to find a shop or something?
Yeah.
$11. It's totally halfway between 5 and 15, but okay, I'll
It's
deal with it.
it's easy enough for you to find a shop of, on the surface, looks to be good enough quality for you to kind of play with the idea of that they're going to be a good fit for what you're looking for. And so you approach them and you see that there's a younger man at the anvil of the forge. You see that an older individual who looks to be a Goliath seems to be working the bellows and instructing him on his hammer strikes. As you walk up, he nods to the boy, or to the younger paladin in this case, and comes up to the counter to greet you. In a gruff, deep voice, simply states, "Welcome. Welcome to the Paladin's Razor Forgehead. My name is Anxilis Griffskull. Some mighty fine gear you have in your hands currently there, Ranger. Anything I can help you with?"
Yeah, I'm trying to find out a little more about them. Kind of found them on one of our adventures. I know they're both like tattered and broken, but if they can be of any use.
Well, I've been around long enough to try and make some odd ends and bits work in our favor. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to do the same with these.
Oh, you could actually do it then.
Yes, I am one of the master blacksmiths, and I've been around long enough that I should be able to tell you if it's viable or not to fix, or at least be able to get it up to a point where you can use it.
Oh, wunderbar. I was just thinking I was going to come here to get a name or pointed us in a direction, but looks like I found what I'm looking for.
Very good. So, let me see what you have there.
So I'll hand him the cloak first.
He picks it up and examines it, pulling it out, kind of stretching it, looking at all the different stitchings. This is definitely made by elves. The stitching is too fancy. We'll go with fancy for those of us.
Precise?
It's precise, but I can make precise stitches, as he points to a large suture he's put into his own arm underneath the plating he wears on his shoulder. I can be precise. It's just they flourish their stitches. It's all double line, triple knots, and all box stitches and Z cuts and all this different naysaying weirdness that gives them these interesting, peculiar angles of the cloth and fits them well and feels like it doesn't move in the wind. And they They do strange things for strange reasons. I've stopped trying to imagine their idea behind it. But I can tell you first and foremost this is an elven cloak of much age, to be exact.
Okay, is it just cloth? Just a cloak? Does it do anything in particular?
Well, let us see what the boy can tell us, as I may not be as a savant in the magical realm as I once was. My eyes are not as good as they once were. But that does not mean that I can't at least try to show you what you're looking for.
Right, it's made by elves. You never know. Those elves do some weird things for some weird reasons, like you said.
He goes, that is why I will have the boy take a look at it very quickly. He seems to have a better understanding of the situation of what it is. Do you happen to know about the person who wore it? That usually gives us a pretty good idea of what we're looking for.
I know she was an archer. I know a little bit about her.
Ah, so she must have been a hunter of sorts. Interesting.
Quite possibly. So out of character, I don't know if I want to tell him who it is.
It's up
if
to
she's
you.
Known around here.
Everything that you give to NPCs or otherwise is all up to you, my guy. If you want to tell him, you can tell him. If you don't have to.
Well, if he comes at me, it's his death. Yeah, I want to tell him exactly who it is.
He goes, really? That must mean it's... Huh.
Yeah, hence why I think it's not just an ordinary cloak.
I understand completely why you brought it here. Since it's elven stitching, I can't tell if it was made here or not. It doesn't have maker's markings, and after 400 plus years, I'm surprised it's still not in tatters. Let me...
It is gorgeous for its age, isn't it?
It is. Boy, please. The boy stops hammering upon the anvil and walks over as the Goliath
I have to pause you
points...
right there. This entire time you keep saying boy like that, I am only thinking of God of War.
I mean, that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
A little.
Okay, I totally...
It's kind of that situation of where he's like, it's a Goliath with like this shorter elf apprentice who's just like, boy.
Got it. Boy.
Boy.
Get over here.
Get over here, boy. I need you to look upon the magic seams of this elven bullshit. And so the boy comes over and he kind of tinkers with it. You see that because he is of elven descent, he seems to have a better kind of lay about what the stitching means and what it kind of pulls about. And he essentially tells you that what it looks like is that it seems to be that of just a cloak of elven kind, is the best way he can describe it. Is that it is a cloak made to look the most elvish possible while remaining functional to the user.
What's up, Aaron? He just says roll a 20 to smack an elf. Love the shit. Anyways, so why would she care about looking the most elven as possible?
And you asked the boy the question as he's running his fingers up and down the seams looking for something. And as you ask him that question, the fingers stop. And he kind of taps the part of the cloak that's on the bench. He goes, look closely here. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you would miss it. It's the elven symbol for T. The letter T. Whoever made this made it for that ranger as a gift. But I don't know why they'd only put... Very odd. Usually elvish signatures are very elaborate, stick out relatively well. This one is made of the thread that seems to blend into the inner seams of the fabric as if not to be seen.
So, but only would be known by people that are looking for it.
Yeah, it seems to be, as he kind of pulls the cloak up and he holds it and he points, he goes, it's right here on the inside of the cloak near the front clasp, where a person could essentially pull the cloak out a bit, and if they knew what they're looking for, see the maker's signature, that single elvish letter. But if you were to wear it, you wouldn't be able to tell unless I showed you now. Which, again, is odd. Especially to put your maker signature on the inside, and only if someone is to slightly open it to look at it while wearing it. It just seems peculiar.
Right, you would think a maker would want his or her name shown so that people would come back to them to make said garment again. Or others to be like, oh, that's a nice cloak, let me go get one made by that person.
He goes,
Why would it be?
It's odd, because the only time that I've ever done that was that I made something for my sweetheart. And he just he's staring at it, and he goes, it's to remind the person who you gave it to who made it, because it's for them, it's not for other people. But why would a person who seems to not know the elvish ways of crafting go through the ways of learning to make this elaborate magical cloak to put a singular letter for his signature on the inside of it? Because the stitching isn't quite right for an Eldari, for an elf. It seems slightly changed, I imagine, to help whoever made this actually make it in the more bona fide fashion. But where he placed it, it would be for more the person wearing it, not necessarily others to see it.
So let me get this completely accurate. This was made by somebody who is not an elf, but learned elf stitching in order to make it for this archer. And it's stitched with the elven letter T, where only the person wearing it could see it.
Yes, that's what it looks like.
Hey, usually the wheels are turning and the hamster's dead. I think the hamster was just fucking defibbed.
Clear.
The boy just kind of nods to you like, yes, I'm glad.
Okay, next. What about this bow that I have here? This was her bow as well.
That bow seems to be damaged relatively well. I can tell that there's some magic to it. Again, it seems to be of elven craftsmanship. Sir, what do you think? As he points to the Goliath. And the Goliath looks down and goes, I don't think I'll be able to repair that kind of craftsmanship. I could at least put it back together to make it look right. But I don't know if it'll ever fire true again. Seems that it was crushed severely by something heavy falling on it. So I'm not sure if the inner spine is still intact. I'd have to remake the entire thing, if anything.
Could you attune the magic portions of this bow to the bow that I have on my back?
We could certainly try. We'd have to find what magic there is to grab first. It's... yeah. Boy, it is up to you again. Please take a look. And so the boy once again steps up and starts looking through the different parts of it, looking for anything that would give him an idea of what exactly he's looking for. He just seems to not find anything that is of peculiarness. It seems to be just that of a greatly crafted one. The magic coming off it very faint. And then all of a sudden he touches one point of the bow and his hand springs back. And he rubs fingers together. He goes, ow. Ow. Why? And he goes back to touch it again and he pulls fingers back. He goes, it's hot. Right there. But there are no embers. No flame. No smoke. He goes, I think I know what this is. Give me a moment. He goes, can I have your bow, please?
Sure.
The boy sits and starts to mumble something as he runs up and down the spines of both bows. As you see a small ember pop out of the broken one and crawl through the cracks of the bench top, leading to yours, growing in brightness until it hits your bow. And once it does, your bow does not burst into flames. It does not become destroyed. The ember simply burrows inside as you see the veins begin to spring across the surface. The ember becoming a center ruby in the center of the bow, just above the handle, almost acting as a way to sight it. The veins of fire and heat spring up and down the arms of the bow, the string becoming that of a glowing orange. It transforms in front of your eyes, and when you go to touch it, it's cool to the touch. But you can see that as you move it, that immense heat bellows from the heart of this bow now. The boy is ecstatic, his face lighting up with joy as he claps his hands and goes, I don't think you quite understand what that is. That is a flame heart. They were thought to be gone, broken, disassembled. This means, but there were only so many people who knew. There's only so many people that knew. And he kind of grabs at his face a little bit, and he picks up the other bow, the broken one, and starts tracing it up and down. And he again finds a single elvish letter, T, carved onto the back of the arm that would face the user when they were firing the bow. He was, again, the T. Why? Why is it there? Why is it not an embellished massive sigil? Taming a fire heart and containing it into a bow is bewildering. But he did it. This person did it. But why?
I have one more thing for you to look at.
Please, at this point, I am too enthralled by the situation I'm discovering things and seeing this mystery unfold in front of me. What else do you have?
So I'm going to pull out the Terror's Reign, make sure it's completely, of course, clear. Lay it down on the workbench and say, can you find any insignia on this?
He touches the weapon. He goes, "What in the gods is this?"
It's called the Terror's Reign.
He touches it up and down, trying to find anything. He goes, "It's metal and flesh together. This. I'm here. It's very gross. Why do you care? Never mind. The Terror's Reign." As he flips over the weapon, he looks it up and down, underneath parts, looking at any weird part of it. He goes, do you know what this weapon fires?"
Yes, I'll show her the cartridge. It fires 50 caliber beetles, live beetles.
Yeah, it fires a very specific species of beetle that gestates and matures instantly. But there's not. He becomes frustrated. He's looking over. He goes, "This doesn't. There's no signature on here, but it's not of a craftsmanship that one would partake in for that someone who is making these things. It seems not of this world, not of, oh, we haven't seen this in 1,000 years. More of, this shouldn't be here.
It shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't exist. If it does exist, it is not here on Etheria."
But no insignia, huh?
No insignia. It's strange. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense of why. And he's the only thing that I found on here is names carved into it, but they're not insignias. It was someone with a knife who was bored, carved names into the metal on the side of it. But they're small, and there's numerous of them. I can read them. They're in common. You read them. Maybe they mean something to you, because it's just the gross grew over it for a moment, but it seems to have laid itself bare.
I've never seen that before. Let me take a look.
So you take a look at it, and you see that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. They're not names that you recognize. There's Father Nathaniel, Zarya. There is Douglas of the High Order. There is Vermin of the Rogues. And one final name, carved in bolder letters, a little bit deeper than the rest, is Creed.
Saw that one coming. Sorry, continue.
That's all there is, just those 5 names, all carved in next to each other.
I don't recognize any of these names.
Neither do I. The history lessons here are rather thorough, and I don't recognize anyone by the name of Father Nathaniel or Douglas of the High Orders, or someone just named Creed. But that's all I can find. There's no maker's mark.
Creed's in bold letters, too. I bet that guy's a dick.
That are extremely important. It's hard to tell from here, as it's just names.
I mean, it's true. I'm going to go with dick, though.
Whatever you wish, sir.
So you asked me an important question. Why do I carry this?
Yes.
Do you have a practice dummy anywhere that has a big wall of sand or dirt behind it?
if you are going to do what I imagine you're going to do, could you please not do it? I was asking more in the metaphysical sense of that it is gross, not based on what you're firing out of this thing, of the damage it could do.
Well, sometimes you gotta give when you can take, you know? Just saying. However, what do I owe you for everything you've done for me today?
It's... We're not entirely sure. This was a strange occurrence. Stranger than, I think, me and my mentor expected. Honestly, for most of it, it was... The magic itself was bringing forth its name. I just simply knew how to read it. So, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe him anything unless you wish to buy something from him. Otherwise, consider it's done.
All right, I'll consider it done when you accept these 5 gold pieces for your work today.
That is acceptable. And we thank you for letting us learn more about what has hidden itself in the past.
Well, I thank you. Now I'm gonna go try out this bow.
By all means, the dummy is over there. Just don't use the Terror's Reign on anything inside the castle, please.
No promises.
I hate those words. As the Goliath just went, "Come, boy, we have many orders to finish." And they go back to hammering steel, as is tradition.
Okay, so I will walk over to the dummy, draw an arrow, slip it on the bow, and peel it back.
You feel the heat from the bowstring as it passes your cheeks, but not enough to burn or concern you, just enough to let you know that it's there.
Now, am I actually using the ruby as like a... I forget what the fuck they're called on bows.
Like a pin sight?
Yeah.
Peephole? Peep sight?
Yeah.
Essentially, in a lack of a better phrase, yes, you are using it as such, and it seems to be doing its job relatively well.
I want to aim through the ruby for the dummy and release the arrow.
You release, and with a wisp of wind that seems to just cut through the air, the arrow lands into the center of the dummy. And you see as the arrow takes flight, it itself begins to develop the same veins that are built into the arms of the bow. The smoldering ash and embers exiting the broad head and the shaft as it slams into the dummy. The dummy immediately begins to burn from the inside out, as it is simply a straw man. But you can tell that when the arrow lands and hits, that the fire spreads around it, and it begins to engulf the base of the dummy, and soon afterwards, the rest of it.
I just look in shock and awe, just eyes wide open. Still in the position of where I released the arrow, just not moving.
Yeah, you stand there for a hot minute. It is yeah,
A hot minute. I like the pun.
yeah.
So what should I call this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. You got me back though by typing it.
God damn you.
Son of a bitch. Oh my god, it won't go away. You are a douche. Ah.
I could just complain to him the way he said eyes wide open.
With eyes wide open. Nothing?
I'm here for it. I knew where you were going too. I was already a step ahead. I just wasn't gonna say nothing.
I didn't even realize I sounded like that. And then he was like, I hate you. I'm like, why? And he goes, this is the way you said eyes wide open. And as soon as I read it, I was like, God damn it. You fucking asshole. Ah. Isn't that 2 weeks in a row?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
But what are you gonna call your bow?
That is the big question, is it not?
Okay. Sorry. Kind of doing something real quick. Okay, so what am I calling this thing?
I don't know what the hell are you calling it.
Oh, I was trying to like role play what you're gonna tell me to call it in like D&D Beyond.
I mean, it's called a bow of conflagration on D&D Beyond, but you can give it whatever name you want.
Just call me.
What did you just call me? Guy?
Jesus. Okay, I did a thing because I've done it twice already, and now I can just piss him off whenever I want to. And I like it. Here for it. Great. It's fantastic. Thank you for spelling it, because I would have not been able to.
Nah, that's what I'm here for.
Like, fuck.
As Rexus gives you a million names to call it.
Yeah, right? I apparently do not have that.
It's one of those things that it's a simple item that you can just like add a custom roll to the current one. Essentially, it deals 1d6 fire damage as bonus damage, but then it immediately causes flammable objects around the creature and the creature itself, if it is flammable, to burst into flames. Like
so
a napalm
1d6,
round.
you said?
Yeah, 1d6 bonus fire damage, and then 1d6 for every turn the creature takes. Essentially, it's like napalm arrows. You want to think of it that way.
So basically, it's a burn effect.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose?
Do it on purpose.
I'm wondering if you said... Yeah. Yeah, that. No.
I did not do that on purpose.
No, not going to make a new stream title or new podcast called The Burn Effect.
No, I don't plan on it. No. That opportunity,
It does.
I mean, Born Supremacy would never see it coming.
It's fucking worst. You shush. Quick chat, boo this man. Boo! God damn it.
Now it's a soundbite. You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's what you found. You can call it whatever you want, but it's essentially a bow of conflagration. It essentially fires napalm arrows, and your bow is now inhabited by a fire beast. So, yeah. A
Cool.
Fireheart, to be specific.
I'm here for it. Okay, I guess I will go rejoin my peoples.
Yeah, you go rejoin your peoples. And Kavral and Finrod, you two have been sitting back and enjoying a couple of pints, doing a big think, doing a big process of the situation and the information you found when you see Rage come back in, carrying the bow on his back and the cloak, and the Terror's ran on his back as well. Seems
I still have the broken bow, right?
Yeah, you still have that as well.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, essentially, you two see Rage enter with the equipment that he had left the dorms with, but with a little bit more like pep in his step than he did when he left.
Do I notice the fancified bow?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, honestly. You think he's actually on fire when he enters the room, but then you just see that it's the bow on his back making a bunch of smoke.
I'm renaming this, by the way.
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, that's a fancy new bow you got there. It's not hot to the touch. It looks pretty fucking hot.
I mean, no, feel it. All right, like hold it out to him. Yeah, you're metal. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. It's gonna take some getting used to, man. I'm fucking sorry.
Well,
It's fine.
Kavral, you don't feel anything. Like you do feel it, but like you're a Warforged. You're like, ah, yes, like it's warm, but I'm also a Warforged.
So how warm is it actually?
Yeah, basically. Your constitution's a little bit higher than everyone else at the moment. Just a smidge.
Yeah. Well, that's
Anyways,
very
that's
nice.
that's not the most interesting thing that I found out, though. So I lay the cloak and the broken bow down on the table. So do you remember these two things?
Hey?
Yeah.
Do you remember where I got them from?
Oh, I can't forget that.
Yeah, this scene or the event known as Confused Boner. Yes, that one. Yeah, got it from her, right? And we know that she was teamed with Fausta the first time that they went into that area, yeah?
Yeah.
So the guy at the shop down the road found something very interesting on both of these items that were hers. And I'm gonna, open up the cloak and point it out to them. Like, so this symbol here, do you see it?
Yeah. That's
So-
Elvish tea.
Right, that's exactly what the kid told me. So the weird thing is, though, why is it there?
Okay, now you're asking too much for me to think about.
Right. So, okay. So if you were to put this on, where would that be located? I like hold it up to myself. I don't actually put it on, but like hold it up.
Where the wearer can see it.
Who's gonna see it? Like if I was wearing this thing, I would have to open up this brooch to be able to see it.
Okay.
So basically, only the wearer, if they did that.
Right. So whoever made this put their insignia or initial, is what I'm guessing, on this to where only the wearer could see it. So she would be able to like open it up and look inside and see that, he's the one that made it, right? Or they are the one that made it. The same thing is on this bow. And I pointed out to them. And again, it's not like brandishly flashing. It's only to where the user can see it.
So they were trying to be discreet with what they did.
Yes.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yes. Now here's another thing that the Elvish boy down the road told me is that the one on the cloak, that is in an area that is usually meant for a lover. And now I say all of this, and I ask you one final question. Who do we know that makes things for other people that would also have a use for an Elvish tea?
I'm sorry. Rex. I love it.
There you go. I'm not gonna
Is that your thinking, Cap?
maybe my thinking cap doing the petting dog thing.
Doing the petting dog thing, yeah, except it should be a like naked cat.
No, I have more class than that.
Oh, nothing truer has ever been spoken.
To go back like, into character, you say with a T. And as you walked away, I noticed something in the books that Coverall was reading. Thurlby's name was there. And he had wrote in them.
Hey,
Is that who
in an
you're
ancient
implying?
script, which implies he's been along for the ride for quite longer than he implied.
He may have also had a thing for our Elvish Ranger.
It's quite possible.
I mean, you did have a confused boner.
I mean, you saw her in fucking spirit form. Can you blame me? I don't
You
blame
sound like
him at this
anybody
point.
Ethereal committee.
Look, man, those elves do some freakish things, all I'm gonna say. Is that too weird? Really, that's too weird. We're talking about a corpse here.
And I'm just going to stare at you like, what's that supposed to mean?
So, when a man
'cause
and
I'm
a
an elf.
woman love each other very much. Okay, love doesn't really have anything to do with it anymore. Okay, so when a man and a woman go to a concert and they drink way too much, amongst other things that they probably do, and I'm sure you'll find out in the next few years.
You see, there's these things called mushrooms. They're very interesting.
Yo, I'm done with mushrooms after the one that we dealt with.
I was totally going with ecstasy, but mushrooms is way better. I guess mushrooms would help the ecstasy of the situation. Sorry, that was fucking terrible. I'm a father. I'm allowed to make those jokes.
Or what Aaron said.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
Always be responsible and wrap your willy, kids.
Life lessons from Rage. Welcome to D&D.
Do not ever take life lessons from Rage. That is a very, very bad idea.
Yeah, D&D lessons. Do not do lessons.
Precisely. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool. Exactly, Aaron. Exactly.
Rage is like, you see what I'm doing? Don't do that.
My number one parenting quote is, do as I say, not as I do.
Ah, yes. A time-old classic.
It's usually followed up by, slapping Mrs. Rage's ass, but,
Yeah.
as one should be.
Ah, yes.
See, that is very true.
Yep.
She said it.
She said it.
Case it.
It's canon.
Oh, well, I mean, you can't spell class without ass.
God fucking. Shut up.
God damn. That is my new fucking title. New stream title.
Fucking hate
no.
you.
Do you though? Do you?
No.
I'm pretty sure you've been back there with your mic muted laughing your fucking ass off this entire
My
time.
mic hasn't been mute. I've just been able to laugh pointing my face away from my mic. It's dynamic.
Oh, that's fair. I totally forgot where we were.
So you were talking to them about the fact that you were trying to connect Thurlby is the person who made these artifacts is where you were.
Yeah, and then shrooms got brought up, and then we went on a little trip in our favorite rocket ship.
Indeed.
And while we're continuing the conversation, I passed you an ale.
Zooming through the sky. Oh.
I'm so getting high right now.
What the
Could be.
I may have had that one ready.
That doesn't surprise me.
Anyways, yeah. So I think Thurlby made these for our late ranger friend. You said that he wrote something in a book?
Hey, in an ancient script, which implies, he's
How
old.
ancient? Because, yeah, when that girl 400 years old, how old is this dude?
This script is somewhere in the range of 500 to 600 years old.
Jesus fuck.
Remember how the last things we heard is, I made you.
And I can unmake you.
And in the notes, it is described that the one who struck him down and separated his darkness from who he originally was had a scar across his face, very similar to the one that Thurlby wrote off as a fist fight with a boar instead.
That son of a bitch.
Aye.
Well, I think we know who we need to go talk to now. Weapons drawn, I might add.
Who are you gonna go talk to?
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
first we need to get ourselves some potential reinforcements. But
Do we though? I just hold out my wrist because I still have the bracelet, right?
You do.
I just hold out my wrist.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have a few paladins on our side.
I mean, more paladins never hurt.
I
Unless they're
don't
double
exactly.
crossers.
Oh, let's not go there.
What do you mean let's not go there? We were just there. It just happened. It was like 2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago. I am very upset.
Or salt into the wound.
I'm not over it, clearly.
Fellow paladins, we must forget this incident.
Hey, Rage, I do want to know one thing.
What's that?
Where did you go for all that? Because I want to just double check that my gauntlets are still functioning properly after the amount of abuse I put them through.
Oh yeah. Let's go talk to them. And they're really cool. I gave them 5 gold pieces when they told me that I didn't owe them anything. I felt like they gave me way more information than 5 gold pieces were. So I'd be happy to take you to them.
Well, it'd be nice.
like
Support local businesses.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was a what was he? Fuck.
A Goliath and an elf.
A Goliath. It was a Goliath and an elf. Like it was like, David and Goliath kind of shit going on, and I was there for it.
I do not know who this David or this Goliath that would be named Goliath is, but all right.
I mean, you obviously haven't read the books, that far back yet. I mean, you got a ways to go to get there.
What the fuck?
Also, I have
I'm
to
gonna
be in a
just
different
trust you.
universe, but all right.
Semantics. You gonna tell me there's not one fucking story in this universe about a little dude taking out a big dude? Come on.
Yeah, it's called the Dwarves versus the Goliaths. And it was just David the Dwarf versus the Goliath. It was a terrible story written for children that got thrown in the trash.
What, did you kick him in the shin?
He threw a rock at him.
Did you dig a hole?
And then he dug a hole for the Goliath.
Diggy diggy hole.
I knew that's where you were going.
Name of my people.
Is that going to be another sound clip that I have to add to my stream deck?
What? Diggy
Every
diggy
time,
hole?
every time Rex just gives the final blow, I just fucking play that as his anthem.
So dumb, I'll allow it. I love it.
Oh no!
He's like, I'm not going to do the final blow ever.
Just refuses to do combat forever now. Just no, I don't want to.
Become the supported in.
He'll type to you, hey, how much health does he have left? All right, I'll make sure it's... Oh, I leave him at 1.
I'm gonna leave him at 1. Can I reduce my damage die?
I'd like to spend a fate point, please.
That's
too much damage.
Too much damage.
Oh no!
Love
That would be so bad.
I'm glad you're liking the story, Becky. It has been a lot of fun to write.
I have a clarification question from Becky. Is she loving the story or is she loving the bullshit that we make up with the story?
Probably a mixture of both.
I was about to say, why not both?
Well, one has to be greater than the other, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Rex's. Wow.
I don't have that as a soundbite.
You don't need a soundbite. You have us.
I mean,
Wow.
sure.
Wow.
Wow.
Although I do have burned his feelings. And that's not coming through, apparently.
Yeah. So,
Fail.
Def both BS and storyline.
Definitely both. Yeah, okay. I completely agree. I don't think one exists without the other at this point.
I mean, writing a story, that's exactly how it is too. Like, you can't have good character banter without good story writing, and then vice versa. That was a noise.
Bro?
Did that come through?
I heard like a duck.
Yeah, it was like some
like a
birds
half
about-
of a duck.
I totally didn't do a duck.
sounded like a crow to me, but
It's totally the Wilhelm scream. So I
It
don't know
was
where
like the
duck or
very
crow.
end of it.
she was like,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how I can make that any better.
I can go over the settings with you later.
Is it input sensitivity probably?
And you It needs to be at negative 70.
oh, for voice mod stuff to come through properly, yeah. That is for
you
the
can't have
voice
noise
changer itself, though. I
cancellation.
don't know if it.
It
But yeah, you
affects
also
the
can.
soundboard as well.
Oh, it does? Okay. I haven't tried using the soundboard on it yet.
Oh, what does?
Noise cancellation affects it as well. So you need
Noise
to turn off
suppression has to be
Chris.
on none, and your automatic determined input sensitivity has to be negative 70.
Oh. That work?
Right.
Yeah, it's not coming through.
Hmm.
I think it's too short for that one.
It might be.
Perhaps.
Mayhaps.
What if I just turn that down to like nothing? And then you hear everything.
Hmm.
What about that?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, fuck it. I'm done then.
Fair enough.
I'm done with this.
And
I
I
tried.
with my
I tried. That's all that matters.
tried so hard and got so far.
In the end, it didn't really fucking
But in
matter
the
now,
end-
did it?
Nope.
So, where is this Goliath and
die.
Elf? There we go.
Yeah, see, some of them come through and some of them don't.
It could just be like a pitch thing, because I know that a lot of high pitched stuff just doesn't come through Discord, even if you have sound cancellation off. Just I don't know.
That might be true. I mean, it came through when I did it, like the actual files on Stream Deck. But whatever.
The voice mod's weird with. I don't know, man. Voice mod doesn't work well with Discord.
SL71 Black.
I see that one comes through. Perfectly fine. I didn't even turn that up.
The Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, an advanced long-range strategic reconnaissance aircraft capable of Mach 3 and an altitude of 85,000 feet.
You sure do seem to know a lot about it.
Do you even read my Christmas list?
Well, thanks, Alucard, for making a quick
Yeah.
cameo.
Indeed.
I mean,
Get that bitch a cannon.
Bitches love cannons.
God,
Blood-soaked Protestant hell did you do that?
Fuck you, that's how.
that's what I got.
Now he's having too much fun.
No, I just said thank you, Alucard, for that. Then I just played all the ones that I had from Helsing, Ultimate Abridged.
So
I love how you added Ultimate Abridged like it was a TM.
It definitely is.
Doo-doo-doo.
Okay. Also better than the original. Just going to throw that out there,
Yes, 100%. Anyway, you easily
Yeah,
show
true.
Finrod where you went to get those weapons looked on, and it's easy enough to find the Goliath and his elf apprentice.
All right. And this time, before I take them off,
Where's
I'm
the
gonna
Pornhub
go.
sound when you need it?
God damn it!
Sorry.
I'm going to talk with my
I'm
gauntlets
not sorry.
and go. I'm just taking you off to get tuned. You're not being taken away this time, nor am I letting them go away. I just want to make sure you're in good standing.
This is oddly sounding like one of the books that was in the lesser section of the library.
You hear a
I don't
collected sigh of relief from the gauntlets as they release their tension on your wrists and easily come off and laid upon the bench top.
Sweet. I don't have to fight you this time to get back on. All right.
I would make a comment, but I think I've irritated Burn
I was-
enough tonight. I know I heard the pause. The pause was loud as fuck. I get it. But I think I've irritated Burn enough. As he's not talking.
As you pop the bottle.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't still getting drunk. I just think I've irritated him enough.
As you
No,
say, I
Range, you
set them
haven't
down.
irritated me. I'm having fun.
I am having fun. I was gonna let Stealth do his fucking thing. Like, I'm waiting for him to finish what the fuck he's saying, and you're just like, oh man, Alucard, bottle, drink, cork pop, and I'm like, God, fuck, just, I'm enjoying my time, but Stealth, for the love of.
So, as I set the gauntlets on the table, I go, "Hey guys, can you just make sure these are in, tip-top shape?" I've kind of been abusing the Lion's gauntlets a little bit in the past few battles.
The Goliath turns to look at you and is a towering form. And he looks down at the countertop, looks at you, looks at the countertop, looks at you, looks at the countertop, and goes, "Were you wielding these?"
Yeah.
How?
I mean, I know I'm like scrawny as fuck, but
These were wielded.
they let me attune.
These were wielded
Poor skinny
by
dick.
this poor skinny bastard. These were wielded by the barbarian Lionel Johnson, and you were wielding them. Interesting. I guess they must have found your actions satisfactory.
You know, I'm trying to behave now, and then you come up with a name like Lionel Johnson.
That's literally been his name since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
This is the first time I've heard this name.
I said it like 10 minutes ago.
Earlier.
When we were going over the book of that's the barbarian's name.
Mm-hmm. So what's his nickname? Train Rock? Rock Train? With Lionel with Dwayne Johnson? Merchant had a kid and there's Lionel Johnson?
No, just he was born of John. Therefore he's Johnson.
Choo choo, jabroni.
Shut the fuck.
Oh, okay. I'm back to trying to behave. I'm really trying.
Oh man. But yeah, it's the Goliath looks at you just in almost disbelief that you were the one wielding those gauntlets. And he goes, "So what did you need from me exactly?"
You know, I really went high on the charges for us to get out of an area. And, you know, I heard a clicking sound, but at the same time, it didn't seem like anything went wrong. I just want them to be double checked. Like, I want to make sure these are good when we run into the Mad King again.
Ah, so you're one of the compatriots that's going to face the Mad King.
Aye.
Well, then let us do our best to make sure that your equipment's in working order. That would be at least my satisfaction for what needs to be done. And so he takes a good look over the gauntlets. And he sees that there's nothing wrong with them on the surface. He sees that there's a little bit of work that needs to be done, possibly internally, but things that are outside of his control. He goes, for the most part, it looks to be that your gauntlets are indeed in working order. Is that I can't find anything truly wrong with them.
I do a sigh of relief. That's at least good to hear. It's just the way I overcharged them, I was really worried that I might have damaged them somewhat so that we could get away from that Draco Hydra.
Now, it seems that they may not like you doing that, but at least it looks like the damage was not extensive, which is at least a good thing. These were meant to crack through mountains, mind you.
You know, I got a good feeling about that, especially once I destroyed the throne at the necropolis. The Med King was not too happy about that.
As one would imagine. It's quite a feat that you made it out alive at that point.
Yeah, I would call us lucky on that one. But at least these are good.
I would say so. So, at least with that, looks like you won't need any major repairs, which is always a good thing to see on equipment that is usually the ones most necessary of needing repairs.
Let's see. Overall, did you need anything while we were here?
I do not believe so. But I can't think of anything.
If you ever do need anything, we will be here and always open to lending a hand or a hammer, depending on the situation. But it's one thing strikes me as odd about your situation is that you wield these artifacts. It seems that you must be important individuals to wield such power.
Eh, not special, really.
Yeah, I agree. Not important. Just wrong place, right time.
Oh, it was a fight to wield these. Trust me.
Well, then, I would imagine that after this point, let me ask you this. What do you plan to do once you leave here? You have the equipment necessary, but from what we've heard, from what we've seen, is that I don't think the three of you could handle what exactly is going on the west side of the continent.
No, you're not wrong. Plan on trying to see if we can't garner any support here before we attempt anything.
Yeah, we probably can't handle it, but I'm not going to ask anyone to die either. So if they want to come by their own accord, gladly thank the company.
Do you know who we could talk to?
I don't think it's necessarily who you need to talk to, but what.
Oh,
Okay, well then, what do we need to talk to?
You stand in a fortress city built upon the shoulders of generations of paladins who have all learned trades, who have learned the world around them and the science as well as magic that pushes it forward. We have a collection, so to speak, of artifacts and books and knowledge and merchants and such. But the one thing we hold closest is the fact that we have a collection of those past that you can speak to. That the body may lie where it falls, but the spirit returns to the keep. That is the duty of the apothecaries that we send out with our squads, with the soldiers that go and fight to defend the land that we call home. Is to make sure that spirit returns here for it to be incorporated into the Ghost Council. If you were to find anything to understand truly what your next move should be, it would be to speak with them.
You want us to speak to spirits? Ghosts?
hey. It would be quite wise to seek their counsel.
Brother Caval speaks the truth. The Ghost Council is made up of some of the most heraldrous and some of the most decorated paladins that have ever graced these halls. They would be a good place to at least look for a perspective, information, ideas, as we have all manner of paladin within the catacombs and in such within the reliquary and within the council itself. I imagine simplifying it to speaking to ghosts does not do it the justice that you would seek, but definitely that of the power behind it. But I would speak to the Grandmaster and see if he will allow you audience, holding the artifacts you do and the prestige that you have gained for protecting. Imagine he would not say no. But that's where I would begin.
I wasn't trying to oversimplify it like that. I don't do well with spirits. But I'm already terrified, so what's the worst that could happen?
After the banshee.
You shut your mouth. Why I gotta open old wounds like that? Yes, I know. 2 days ago. I get it. I'm still terrified.
Coverall, could you show us the way to this?
I believe I know the way.
Could you possibly also find somebody for me to hide behind? You know, for a friend.
Oh, I suppose you could always hide behind one of us.
Look, you're too short and Finrod's too skinny. I don't have many options here.
All right, so I'm right behind him, and you're behind me.
So we're gonna conga line the shit. All right.
We're gonna conga line the ghosts. Hell yeah.
We'll turn fucking the Ghostbusters theme song into a conga line song.
Jeez.
Yeah, that might be a good remix.
That sounds terrible. Don't you fucking do
Don't
it.
you know? No.
I am sorry I said it.
I'll be the
Because now it's in my
caboose.
head.
Because now I want to try.
Oh God. Anyway,
No, I'm not gonna say it.
Coverall,
I don't know Bex enough.
you lead the party to the Grand Master's chambers. Basically, where he sits and deliberates with the other captains of the Paladins and speaks to those of training and otherwise. As you enter the chamber, he sees the three of you specifically, and it looks to be the man you met on the drawbridge. The older dwarf with the armored beard, still having his robe on his upper torso and just wearing his greaves on his legs, his upper torso not fully armored. And he nods to you and motions to the rest of the people in the chambers, and they all turn, see you, and quickly move out of the room, closing the door behind them.
Son of a bitch. It's in my head now, Bern. It's in my head.
Sorry, not sorry.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Duh. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Duh. Sorry. Not sorry. I've been imagining us all doing that, by the way. It's just fucking terrifying.
He looks to the three of you and goes, you don't have to say it. I know why you're here. And knowing the fight that you have on your shoulders, the scars you carry through these holes and that you've tried to heal from, I hope that even after you speak with the council, that you will take some more time to heal the burdens you all carry. But that is your choice, not mine. Regardless, I will open the door to the reliquary and the council that lies beyond. Be gentle and speak with respect, as these are some of the greatest heroes that have come through the Slanted Keep and that have returned home to roost to show us the way in the times of dire need.
I tap Finrod on the shoulder. Why do I feel like he's specifically speaking to me when he says that?
I mean, he might be. Or he isn't. We'll just find out in a bit. Or we won't.
Be respectful is not in my job description.
The stealth is like, maybe we'll find out, or we won't. I don't know. Just,
Fuck it, we do it live.
yeah, basically.
Like, we're going in.
So he goes to a large gilded door at the back of the chambers, opens it with a key from underneath his beard, grabs 2 large handles and cranks them down as you hear the tumblers unlock, the bars sliding back, opening the doors down the stairs to the catacombs, the reliquary, and of course the council. He ushers you all down, and Kavral, he puts a hand on your shoulder and goes, "Even in your metal form, they should recognize you for what you've done. But take heed, they may not quite recognize you as well as I have. That does not mean that they do not respect what you've done and how that you have accomplished. We know you were gone for a few decades as you were trapped. You could have broken, you could have snapped, you could have died, but you didn't. You were rescued, and you have returned that debt 20-fold. Step into those chambers with great pride behind every step. They will understand and they will respect it. I will see you when you return."
Thank you. And no, nod respectfully and say, I look forward to a drink with you after.
But of course, as you hear the doors close behind you guys, the doors
I want
echoing. What? What up?
Just before the doors close, like, if they have anything to say about his new form, you can blame it on me, and I'll take full responsibility.
You hear just a guttural laughter from the doors as they close, as the slamming of the metal pins echoing down the stairways and into the catacombs. The halls are lit with what look to be glowing mushroom torches. Easy enough for you to navigate, nothing of extraneous circumstance for you to make your way down. You make it into a large circular chamber. A chamber that is made of ancient stone, gently carved and polished over the decades of usage. As you enter, you see that there are 3 paths, but you do not have to choose, as a glowing blue light comes from the central one, and you hear a chorus of voices go, "We heed you and enter."
I'm just going to turn around real quick to Ridge. Sure you don't want to go first?
I'm currently trying to figure out how to leave this place. Are you sure you want me to go first?
It's fine, so you can stay behind.
So what do you guys do?
I was going to say I enter.
You?
All right.
I guess.
So
I was basically just trying to see if Rage got over his thing for a moment and see if he wanted to go first, but if not, meh.
Meh. So, you guys enter the chamber following the glowing blue light. And as you enter this small, almost a long room with a rounded end, a large blue brazier sitting on its back forth, blue flame coming forth from it, almost a strange shade that seems to shimmer between a faded bright green and a silver, the colors dancing upon the stone, but there seems to be nothing here. The voice echoes once more. "Speak your names for the council."
Overall stone shield.
Finrod Noldoran.
I Rage.
"The council welcomes you 3. We open the veil so that you may beseech what lies beyond your temptations, beyond your mind. Seek answers. And as those words echo throughout the chamber, the flame brightens 100-fold, almost blinding you for an instant, as you see that the back curved wall that was once there has opened into a spectral, Senate-like chamber that seems to go on forever, filled with the ghostly visages of paladins sitting in the seats above. 4 large granite chairs sit in front of you about 80 feet away, each one holding a massive form of a paladin in those chairs. The council greets the 3 heroes who stand forward. Not often does the Grand Master send those down to seek counsel. We 4 welcome you, along with the senates of paladins that have passed before. Before you stands us 4 judicators of the paladin. We have vengeance, war, intelligence, and craft. And you can see each one of the chairs, though they look the same, have small details that differ, but each paladin that sits in those chairs is strikingly different. Whether armor design, colors, even muted by their spectral images, still show through. Even their weapons seem to be different between each 4. We are the Council of the Unseen, of the Shadow Fort that lies above, to bring forth the knowledge of the past to those who wish to use it for the future. Speak your questions.
If there is a way to free the paladin known as Fausta from his curse, I would know it, please.
The one in the first chair to the left stands. His armor is sharp and darkened. You imagine this is the Paladin of Vengeance. As he stands, great sword in hand, he goes, "There is no way to free him from his fate. The threads are intertwined. He must be stopped. The mad dog must be killed." And you hear cheers and stomps from the ghosts behind him. The second one stands. This one seems to be wearing heraldry. His armor more smooth and carrying ranks of high distinction. The Paladin of War disagrees. If he must be fought, he must be fought on his terms. If he is to be saved, the link must be broken. Much like any war, it wins by the supply. If you cut it off from the source, it will wither. More cheers and stomps are heard throughout the chamber. The third stands. This one seems to be wearing much that of the Grandmaster, only greaves and then a robe on its upper torso, its helmet sitting on the arm of its chair. It does not stand. The Paladin of Intelligence says others. The books speak of breaking the magic, of breaking the link between the 2 halves of the morals that we have sought to align. There must be a way to break it. Think, brothers, for once, use your mind above the blades. There must be a way to break what holds him. You hear clamors and some deep conversations begin to echo throughout the chamber as specters talk amongst one another. The other 2 paladins of war and vengeance seem disturbed by the thoughts of the one of intelligence. And finally, the last one seemed to be the scrawnier of the 4, wearing greaves and a single pauldron, his chest showing scars and tattoos from a culture long gone. He stands and goes, "I, the Paladin of Craft, understanding that all 4 aspects must be put together to form one blade. I say this, if magic must be broken, something must be made to do so. If war must be created, Weapons must be forged. If vengeance is to be taken, lives must be saved in the process. I believe that there must be something that needs to be done beyond the recognition of what you see. Speak to the tomes. There must be something amongst it. We have forged weapons against magic before, and we shall do it again. What about... And the other paladins turn and look at the Paladin of Craft. As he sits there pondering, holding his finger in the air, the thought crossing his mind for an instant. He goes, "The Norn Queen! She can help!" You hear arguments and yelling blast out from the paladins in the rows, and the other 3 paladins in their chairs, turning to him and saying, "You idiot, you fool, you cannot send them on such a journey." Eventually, a 5th specter joins the front row in front of you. He holds up his hand, and he wears no armor, only robes, his sword still in its scabbard at his hip, and goes, "Brothers, please, you have said your piece. Let those who have asked the question think upon your answers. As the Paladin of Acceptance, we must know when it is time to look past our own thoughts to those who see the world as it currently is, not what it was. What say you, heroes? Out of what you've heard and what you believe, what is your best option?"
From what I know, at least, when I broke the throne for a moment, it did seem like he lost a little, lost a little bit of power temporarily. So I could believe breaking the object that's giving him power.
Okay. The obsidian throne did seem to be the focus of it.
That didn't fully stop him because of he still had power afterwards.
Well, the throne was sundered, but not destroyed.
True.
We're a couple of them that mentioned tomes. So maybe we can find something in there.
And I do believe him to be redeemable, so I am quite interested in trying to in this talk of the Noldor Queen.
Yeah, I'm a little interested in that too. I mean, we know what Plan B is.
Well, the crafter did say something could be crafted to break the magic eventually. So maybe we could figure out through the tomes how to craft something. So that way we could get through this.
Well, can we have them look at the tomes to find something to craft while we go search for this queen? And of course, Vince's idea. That's all else fails.
I mean, if all else fails, what needs to be done shall be done. But
The Paladin of Acceptance stands in front of you and listens intently, looking to see your reasoning, your understanding, and your knowledge. He looks back and goes, "Brothers, what about the tomes? What do they say?" as you see multiple spectral images going through tomes that they pull from nothing. And he goes, "Brother of the craft, what about the Norn Queen? Do we know if she still lives?" And so both the Paladin of Intelligence and the Paladin of Craft stand up. The Paladin of Intelligence says, "We will search the tomes for things to craft, for things to help create something that defies the magic. But I would have to consult with Brother War, as I believe we will need an army to accomplish this feat. If the Mad King has expanded in power and was even able to shake off the efforts of others, including the heroes with their artifacts, then I believe that we will need something more than just a few heroes to go and take him on. If I would like to increase their odds as much as we can, if at all possible. What about the Dreadnought Project?" More curses and arguments spring up. The Paladin of Acceptance raising his hand as it draws to a quiet. He goes, "We will speak more about that later, brother. Brother of the Craft, what say you about the Norn Queen?" He goes, "If the Norn Queen is alive, and the heroes can take a part of her, they could possibly create a weapon that has anti-magic properties, where it would, in essence, destroy the magic at the point of impact. If that's the case, they could use it to sever the connection between Paladin Fausta and the spirit of the Mad King that inhibits him. Whether it's against his will or otherwise, it would no longer be his choice. The issue with it is that the Norn Queen is not an easy beast to find and also to defeat. She herself is rather ravenous and tends to negate magic that is brought around her. But seeing that our three heroes do not rely on such things, they may have a very good chance of taking it down, if at all possible." And you hear the Brother War stand up and go, "And if it bleeds, they can kill it," as you hear stomping and cheers echo throughout the Senate chambers, as the Paladins raise up their fists and go, "If it bleeds, it will die." The chambers slowly go quiet. The Paladin of Acceptance points to the Paladin of Intelligence and goes, "Speak once more about this project. We need an army. They need a force. I would rather not send our own men to die on a mission that may not end in victory if it not for these three to make it there one piece. What say you?" The Paladin of Intelligence stands up and goes, "I need not say much. Brother Kovral is already an example of that project."
Suppose I am, in a way.
Must I remind you, brothers, that Sir Caligari himself brought forth that project and devised it, designed it, and allowed us to execute in a way to save our wounded brothers. Fortunately, the technique and magic was lost. If we can refine those tools, there is a chance that all of you in this room could fight once more against the foe that slaughtered you so many centuries ago. You hear deep thumping from inside the chamber. You see that the specters are slamming their fists against the stone, their metal plates clanging against the rock. The Paladin of Acceptance turns to you and goes, "It seems we have come to a consensus. You may look through the tomes in the library, wherever you may go, to find what you need. You will be able to go through our armory and find what you need. Here, as he snaps his fingers and a small thing pops up into your hands that simply gives you a generalized location of the Norn Queen. He looks to you and goes, "Go forth with great strides and great strength. If you're able to take what you need from the Norn Queen, you may have an advantage when you eventually face the Mad King again. But I would dictate that you find a way to bring forth more soldiers to the field, whether through recruitment or otherwise, as this will not be an easy fight once you start. But the council has deemed you worthy of our acceptance, and therefore we will give you everything we can. Because the Mad King not only threatens you, he threatens us. And in that sense, that means that the balance must be restored. And you, Brother Coverall, will need to be that balance."
Then we have much work to do.
That you do. Speak to the Grand Master after this. We have sent him word of our decision, among other things. He will speak to you further, and I suggest you get a good rest once this is all done. You'll need it. As
Hey, thank you.
the walls fade out and solidify once more, as the only thing left in the chamber is now the Paladin of Acceptance. And he looks to the three of you and goes, putting his hand across his arm across his chest, his fist over his heart. He bows his head and goes, "To war then. May the bodies lay where they fall, the spirit return to the keep."
Aye, may the spirit return.
And he turns and walks through the wall back to where the spirits came. And you are left now in darkness. The brazier died down. The ghost no longer existent. As Rage, you don't feel terrified as much for a moment.
Well, seems we need to both inquire about this Dreadnought project and also if we can get any willing candidates for providing logistics or anything.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to head.
So, off to talk to the Grand Master, I suppose. He seems likely to be the most capable of helping us in this.
That's what we were told to do.
Yep.
If we're leaving, I'm gonna pat Rage on the back. See, it wasn't that bad.
When you've seen the things that I've seen, you'd be afraid too.
You find yourselves walking back up the stairs from where you came, to the large metal doors that were closed, now open to you once more as you see the Grand Master waiting in his chambers, peeling an apple with a small knife, eating the slices off of it, as he looks to you and goes, "Did you find what you were looking for?"
Not yet. But we have a direction.
We have indeed been given direction.
"So have I," as he holds up a small scroll in his hand. He goes, "Let us go down to the tavern, have a sit and a drink, before we all shuffle off to our chambers to sleep and ponder what may lie ahead. Come." As he sticks the knife into his desk, finishes off the apple and throws the core into a barrel in the corner, and leads you down towards the tavern.
All right.
The one thing you notice of the tavern of this keep is significantly larger than the pub. It is meant for large gatherings of things along the line of a feasting hall, if you will, is closer to what it would be related to. Though it does still offer boarding and such for those that are traveling in between the keeps, it is meant to be more of a large gathering place for a large number of paladins and soldiers, consults, kings, queens, dukes, etc. As you pop open the door, or as the Grandmaster opens it, inside you see a large number of paladins all down the seats of the tables that line the center. They all turn and look at the three of you, raising their mugs and saying, "Hail!" as you enter. The Grandmaster holds up his hand to calm the cheering and the drink clanking. You all seem surprised by this because this is not just, oh, it's happenstance. These are paladins that are all of different ranks and stations who have been brought to this specific feasting hall. And he motions for three of you to take three of the seats that are near his large chair at the head of the table. He pulls out the small scroll as the three of you are handed very large tankards of ale, food galore upon the tables, already placed, steaming hot, and just out of the kitchen. He opens the small scroll in his hand. He goes, "Paladins of the Slanted Keep, hail!" And you hear stomps and thumps against the table for a few moments. He goes, "I have orders coming directly from the council. It is quite a day indeed that we see not only the heroes of Etheria bless us with their presence, but we see the return of a brother, the return of something greater. Today, we see hope. We know the enemy is on the horizon. We know that death is knocking at our door. But as we always have, we will answer with fire, blood, and blade. For we are the bulwark of the cities that cannot defend themselves. We have bled and died to keep those alive that cannot do so by themselves. And so I have with me here today orders for something that should have been done a long time ago. Brother Kovral, stand."
I stand up with my mug of ale.
"Brothers, look! Look upon your brother! Look upon his stature, his creed, his strength. Recognize him not as another paladin. recognize him as First Captain Kovral. He has been granted this specific office by orders of the council. He will be the one to lead you into the fray once more. Beside him stands the honorary battle brothers of both Rage and Finrod. You will recognize them all as brothers, despite your rank, your office, your stature. For today has been marked the day of not our independence, but of the independence from the obstrosity that has stricken the lands that we live on. Celebrate, cheer, eat, feast. For tomorrow we go to war. Cheers and stomping echo throughout the feasting hall as ale tankards are knocked together, as food is brought forward to all of you. As it seems that the council knew that whatever was going to happen, that you have more than earned the support of the paladins here, as they would be of no use to anyone if they were stuck within these walls defending an empty island. And so you do just that. You eat, you drink, you feast, you party, you celebrate, knowing that the end of this nightmare will be over soon enough. But first, your task, after you wake, is to look through the tomes for a reason, an idea. The next is to hunt down the Norn Queen, to find the dagger that you will thrust into the heart of the demon that has infested the person that you have called friend. And after that, it is to wipe clean the enemy that has laid waste to the cities that you have rebuilt, the innocents they have slain themselves, to find answers, to finish what you started. So tomorrow morning, you know that you will begin the journey to finishing this fight. And that is the end of our session.
Some midnight.
Those who remain. Indeed.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, with that, you guys had not a whole lot of crazy stuff go on, but you did have a number of things that were meant to be lore building. So, let's do a quick talk. Let's do a quick breakdown before we all get ourselves out of here. Starting with Mr. Reg, your favorite moments, sir.
I called that speech, like, from the get-go, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, he sent me a GIF of the Independence Day, like today we celebrate our Independence Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
I said to him too.
Yep.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I don't know how I knew, but I knew.
I felt called out, but I went with it anyways.
It was great. Like you were talking, and as you were talking, we will not go quietly into the night. I'm like, this is fucking familiar. Obviously the childish banter, I'm always here for. I always love. The bullshit, like, you know, what Bex was talking about. There's a lot of lore that was in this one, and I'm enjoying that. some bows are starting to be tied here.
Yes, the circles are being closed.
Yes.
Mr. Roxas?
I mean, him getting his fancy new bow was pretty cool, and I mean, finding out that my character can still drink, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
The frickin' yeah, I wasn't expecting that at the end with the yeah, I am now first captain. Yeah.
Oh, can I cut you off real quick? I missed the thing. The hat reveal. The hat reveal was perfect.
Thank you. Yes. Oh. But yeah, I enjoyed the lore as well, but I am also kind of glad that it was a lore night because I was not feeling that good today. So I was like, oh, cool. Large stretches where I could just chill and listen.
Yes.
Dude, I feel that. I am so fucking tired today, and like I'm glad that there wasn't a lot of thinking to be involved.
Same. That's why I did it this way.
Not strategizing today.
Especially after the last two sessions, like last week, and then the last session of this game was just like fucking kicked us all in the crotch. So it was like, yeah, let's make this one a little easy. Let's make this one more of figuring out the story and why.
I would have rather been kicked in the crotch. Yeah, your point.
Ow.
Wow.
Ow.
Wow. Mr. Rexus, anything else that you wish to aid?
Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Stealth.
I really enjoyed the lore. I was getting really deep into it, and then, like, I was like, oh, wait. My character's not that smart. You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Wait. Pull the reins. Wait.
So, like, it's like, stop. It's like, no, my character's just deep in thought. It's like,
Very deep.
Gotta stop this.
Yes. All of the deep thoughts.
I'm just sitting here like, 2 and 2, like, oh yeah, no, all this is coming together.
Yeah,
where's
how
my
you
crayons?
pulled the whole banshee thing as the reason why I'm afraid of ghosts was way earlier than I was hoping it was going to be brought out, and I hate you for that. Just FYI. I was like, really? Already? Like, all right, fine, fuck it, run with it.
Listen, your brothers in arms know you best.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
Yeah, because I am not terrified of ghosts. I watch fucking Nuke's Top 5 all the damn time. So it was totally something I was just making up on the spot, and he calls me out immediately.
Love it when a
I
plan
was like,
comes together.
Wow, now I know how burn feels.
Yep. How does it feel? They get fucking called out immediately. It's a Hydra, isn't it? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. I don't need your shit.
We're gonna live on. We're gonna survive.
But yeah, so I like tonight.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did like tonight. I tried to keep it light, but I was like, it's time to do lore because if you had been noticing things, you'd kind of start piecing it together. But depending on who did what and who noticed what, it was going to change how well you put those thoughts together.
Oh crap! Totally forgot. FYI, I was absolutely gonna try to get that elf to fire that terror's rain and just see what happens.
I know you were.
And you shut it down immediately. I'm like, no, I just want to see him go flying back immediately.
No,
Oh, no.
not that. He looked at it and was like, nah, I'm good. Keep that shit away from me.
Indeed.
Um.
You won't have any of that shit.
So, the other big thing was when you got the Terror's Reign inspected, seeing the names carved into it.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with it, like, after the second name, but not really sure how it connects yet.
There isn't really a connection. It's basically the only way you're really gonna know that the connection. So pull it back like 14 sessions. Where
we were at the crystal.
Yeah. Well, you guys were at that
Oh,
crystal.
we did the cross campaign thing. Yeah.
Basically, what you guys did during that session allowed the end of that campaign to happen the way it did.
Okay.
Because you essentially opened a hole in the wall, so to speak, so that Bill, who was one of the string pullers in that campaign, was able to come in and pull Creed out and send his friends back to where they came from. To keep them from basically being obliterated by the Godfall.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting anything like that with the Terror's Reign. All I wanted was him to find the T on that as well. He didn't even have to be Elven. It could have been anything. And I was like, okay, so I was 90% sure that was, Therapy that made this ship, but now, like, this confirms it.
Yeah, like it's essentially that because of what you guys did with the crystal, is that weapon was used by the Ranger in that campaign. Like, this is not I'm using this for this camp. It's like, no, it was used before, and that's where he pulled it from. Because if you remember, when you guys came back from that crystal, he's the only one that remembers the original history. He was panicking that the books were changing as he was looking at them.
Right.
Because that's where you guys got all of the new refugees and citizens in McCrag, is that you start having ships come in from a land you guys thought was non-existent. So yeah, it's a very specific pull. It is not one that's like easy to see. It's very easy to miss.
Got it. Okay.
I was kind of actually from that wondering if Thurlby was someone like Bill, to be honest.
No, it's just more of that. It was kind of how he was in the beginning, but I was like, nah, I gotta ground him. I gotta make him a better, less woobity wobbity character. Like, he's still eccentric, but he's not like that bullshit. Because having Bill in that game was too much. Yeah. Too much otherworldly nonsense going on. But any hoozle. Yeah, and then you guys find like the T on everything and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, exquise. Finrod seeing those weird letters, and then Coverall being able to read it, and kind of you guys being like, oh wait, the strings are coming together. That Thurlby was really Sir Caligari the entire time. Oh, damn. Shit.
Yup, that's the other bitch.
Yeah, right? The
Just
lion, the
glad to know I'm not
witch,
the only one
and
that
the
got stiff from
audacity
that.
of this bitch. Ugh.
Oh. No, just glad to know I'm not the only one that got stiff from that, Ranger.
Fucking bad. Shame.
No shame.
Shun.
Shun.
No shame.
But
I'm a
yeah.
believer, okay? I've seen it. You can't shun me. Fuck off.
But yeah, I liked kind of having this lore session for you guys, and then I was like, how am I going to link them into what they're going to do next? I was like, Ghost Council. Because that makes sense for paladins, as the spirit always returns. So yeah, you guys got the
That was pretty good. I wasn't expecting that one.
Speak to the Ghost Council of the heads of vengeance, war, intelligence, and craft and acceptance. But yes, so now you have a few things ahead of you. Kovral got promoted, as he's apparently now going to be leading the paladins in the fight in the coming time. And the two of you got put up to honorary brothers in the keep. So now you two will have different access and things like that. Yay.
Yeah, and I now have a Foxy.
That as well.
The flaming bow.
Uh-huh.
Nothing stealth. I was expecting one of you two.
You
to laugh
know,
about that.
I was about to say something and I just let it go. Especially since like I'm all about foxes.
No, not foxes. Foxy. Totally different thing.
You know, I heard what you said.
I heard it. I don't want to hear, but I heard it. But anyway, that is all I got for this little session. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. I'm glad everyone liked the little lore session side of it, because I always enjoy doing that, is building up the world and letting you guys kind of look into it a bit more. So next session is going to be a little bit interesting. It's going to be a lot more planning, because you guys are essentially fighting a very large militant force. So you're going to start getting creative in your prepping and how you want to do things. As you guys are aware, something to mull around your brain is that everything is on the table now for preparations. So if you have what you think is a really dumb idea and you want to run with it, pitch it. If you want to go tame a clutch of dragons,
5% of me playing D&D.
well, along the lines of, if you have an idea that is absolutely batshit and you want to fucking run with it, if the party agrees, you can run with it. If you want to go train a clutch of dragons to use as artillery, that's something you can do. You want to go try and capture monsters from the Black Marsh to use them for whatever purpose, or to harvest monsters to get better weapons and gear because you've seen what they can do, that's something you can do. Essentially, what you're doing now is, if you're looking at the map, the Mad King has the necropolis and is spreading from a crag outward. So you're going to have to basically go from the Slanted Keep to that side, and you're going to have to beat him in a militant standoff so you can force him back to where he came, so that you can go after and finish it, if that makes sense.
Wheels are turning.
I really hate you right now, Baron.
Why?
I was going to say, is there a way I could tame a dragon?
Probably.
And then you went, you beat dragons into artillery. I was like, God damn it. I wanted to ask that already.
Probably. But yeah, but with that,
I was going to make a really stupid joke. I'm glad I just got my mouth shut.
well, thank you all for being here. I always appreciate my players being here. I appreciate you, the viewers, being here and kind of seeing what the crazy thing that's in my brain is happening at that point in time. We will be back next Friday for another session. It will be the Beyond Etheria campaign, where we last left our heroes in the middle of a monster-forsaken wasteland. So, tune in next Friday for that monstrosity. And, of course, I'll be around this weekend probably doing a little game stuff, maybe do a little bit something different. I've been picking up Warframe again. I got friends who want to do Darktide. I know Rex is always down for Darktide. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Maybe do some more Halo stuff. Who's to say? But at this point in time, We're going
I
to
accidentally
go...
hit that. I apologize.
How dare! We're going to get off of the LARP playlist, which dear friend Radby gave me access to, and it is phenomenal. We'll be using that for D&D from now on. And we're just going to swap back to some heavy stuff on our way out. We're going to find someone to Horrid. Once I get that going. Horrid the button. We got the Phantoms. I know Stealth and Rage, you two are probably going to be rolling off, yeah?
Oh, yeah, kid doesn't have hockey tomorrow, but I'm fucking exhausted, so I'm done.
Yeah. All right, well then we'll raid into Phantom because he's getting his ass spooped off. So we're going to go make fun of him.
Oh, oh, oh.
That was actually where I was thinking of going.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to lit that raid proc. And then we're going to go see him, see what he's all about tonight. And like I said, thank you all for being here. We'll be here next Friday. I'll be here around the weekend. My schedule is kind of wacky, so if I'm on, you'll get notifications. Make sure you hit that follow button so you get them. And then join the Discord so you get pings. Other than that, don't forget to check out the YouTube if you miss a session. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.